Hello, and what is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS, and I am joined by my lovely wife,
Riding Raven.
And we're back for another episode of Psycho-Synopsis.
Woo!
The segment where we summarize all the Psycho for you.
You're welcome. Anyway, let us begin. Our first client of the week is Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Okay, so as you can see here, it just says, just let Ghostbusters 2016 die already.
Please.
Despite the Ghostbusters Answer the Call standing as one of the most magnificent cinematic disasters in recent years, Ghostbusters Afterlife director Jason Reitman has somehow managed to pull a positive aspect from amidst the wreckage, revealing in a recent interview that his up-and-coming franchise sequel will expand on one of the 2016's reboot's central story themes.
Cinematic disaster is an understatement.
Yeah, and when you hear this, you might think, oh great, well there goes the movie. But that's not what this is. It looks like it might be like something bad, but really what he's talking about is he mentions how what the 2016 movie cemented for him was the fact that anybody could be Ghostbusters, and the fact that, Ghostbusters should be about family and stuff like that. But he plans to expand on that in this movie while keeping true to the roots of the original.
Yay.
So I'm not necessarily sure why he had to come out and say this. It was probably to appease the people who liked Ghostbusters 2016. And if you're one of the people who liked Ghostbusters 2016, you are more than welcome to like it.
Of course.
But objectively, most people didn't like it.
Yeah.
And that's just a fact. We're not trying to be mean. That's a fact. So the fact that a lot of people didn't like it, and the fact that it's not getting a sequel and it's not being expanded on or anything like that, is because it wasn't objectively good, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. But they can't seem to let this die. It's like they have to keep bringing it up every time we get Ghostbusters Afterlife news. So expect a lot of this. I'm going to have fun putting a bunch of the Ghostbusters villains and stuff, whatever, inside our waiting room, because this is the beginning. Trust me.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be fun.
I'm actually looking forward to Ghostbusters Afterlife.
So am I.
It looks like it's going to be something good. Again, we'll have to wait and see. I still have a little bit of skepticism.
Of course, we have to go into this with skepticism because of all of the movies that have come out so far. You can't help but be skeptical when you hear about something good.
Yeah, but a lot of people will say, oh, you shouldn't be skeptical, whatever. No. Here's what I think now. In the past, before, when Hollywood was actually giving us something decent once in a while, that could be valid. Now, Hollywood just gives us garbage. So it became to a point where if somebody repeats the same behavior over and over and over again, you expect the same behavior. So it's no longer an innocent until proven guilty. It's now, you're woke until you prove that you're not.
Yeah.
Or you're bad until you prove that it's not.
Pretty much. This is one I'm going to be willing to see in theaters if it turns out to be good.
Yeah, we'll definitely look into that. We haven't seen something in theaters in a long time. So we'll actually go into theaters for this if it turns out to be something decent.
Yes. And next in our waiting room, Transformers.
Okay, so not a lot of people are covering this one, but as you can see here, it says, Autobots, roll over and play dead. Or as I like to say, Autobots, roll over and play dead.
Yes, you just did that.
Yeah. Set in 1994, 7 years after the events of Bumblebee, Transformers Rise of the Beasts will feature both the return of the Autobots and the debut of characters from the Beast Wars series when it stampedes into theaters on June 24th, 2022.
Apparently they're going to be called Terrorcons, which I'm thinking they mean the Predacons, but if they're going with Terrorcons, that probably means they're going for actual monsters and not just cybernetic dinosaurs.
I'm pretty sure Terrorcons were actually a thing in Beast Wars.
I don't remember them, though.
Yeah, but we're covering this because, again, we're casual fans of Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
And, look, if you want to see, like, a gritty action movie with lots of things blowing up and whatever, these are the movies for you.
Oh, yes.
I personally would like a little more plot in this, and at this point, like, Bumblebee was really good.
I still haven't seen it.
Bumblebee was really good. It was probably one of the first really good Transformers movies I'd seen in a while. I'm really hoping that this takes, some notes from that. But at this point, do we really even need more?
No.
So again, I'm not saying that this will be bad or whatever. I think it'll be, if anything, it'll be a genuine, action, blowing up stuff movie.
A kind of movie you can turn your brain off for.
But I'm kind of hoping at the same time that it will be something a little more in depth this time.
Yeah.
And we'll have to wait and see. I do like the redesigns for a lot of the Autobots. I do think that they have some good characteristics now, and they have some more personality than they did maybe in the first 3 movies. But, you know, at this point, it's just, I'm like, I'll see it if it's okay when it comes out, but I'm not going to go into theaters to see this, definitely. Because it's not that interesting. If I hear different and it sounds like it's going to be a really, really good movie and they've actually taken notes from Bumblebee, I'm more than happy to go see it.
It's like they're trying to squeeze a fruit to get the last of the juice. There's not much more they can do with Transformers. They've pretty much covered it all.
Yeah, but no, there's always other things they can do with it. Question is, will they do it well?
Oh, yeah, good point.
I mean, they could really do a lot with it. There is a lot more.
Have they done Unicron in the live actions yet?
I feel like there was, but I don't know for sure.
Oh, because Unicron was one badass villain.
I'm just like, at this point, like, I don't even remember.
Me neither. One thing I remember, the best Transformers I ever saw was the TV show Transformers Prime. That had actual plot, lore, history of Cybertron, and just pure awesomeness and good character development.
I like that. I like that show as well. Now, again, as I said, we're more casual fans. We don't, like, dive deep into it. We don't have a collection. But, you know, we are interested in seeing good movies.
Yes.
Based on franchises that are, you know, still decent. Mm-hmm. And these movies haven't been awful. I would say they haven't been anything amazing.
No, but they've definitely gone a little bit downhill as they've played out.
Oh, no, they definitely have. They've gotten much longer, and, like, we don't need that long of a movie. You can kind of make it a bit shorter and kind of put more plot into it, and it would go over great. But again,
they've basically just been drawn out at this point. There's really not, like I said, there's really not much more you can do.
Yeah, but you know what? We'll wait and see. Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised. Maybe they did take some notes from Bumblebee, but we'll have to wait and see. But for now, Autobots, transform and roll out.
And so we bring in our next client, the Star Wars original trilogy.
Okay, well, so this is coming up again because, and this is again a rumor, so keep this in mind, we are not saying this is true, but it is a rumor. Mm-hmm. A new rumor claims that Disney and Lucasfilm are planning to reimagine the original Star Wars trilogy as animated films.
Oh boy.
Now, this is not a far reach to think about because they've actually already done this with short clips on whatever on the YouTube channel with some creative editing. For example, where Luke is supposed to shoot, grappling hook and swing across this chasm with Leia. Instead, in the new clip one, she can't figure out how to fire the gun, and Leia smacks him, takes the gun from him, shoots it across, and then swings across with Luke, which obviously didn't happen. Mm-hmm. Now, look, am I opposed to seeing an animated, reimagining of the original trilogy? If it was done correctly,
then no.
No. But this is Disney Lucasfilm we're talking about.
It's probably going to retcon everything.
Yeah, and again, this is not surprising at this point. They've shown that they just don't care about fans.
Yeah.
And that they don't care about, people who don't like this stuff, and their products have not been doing well. And they try to hide it, but it hasn't been the case. And again, if you're one of the people who likes the sequel trilogy or all this kind of stuff, you're more than welcome to like it.
Of course.
I just wish they listened to us a little more. Now, again, this is not confirmed, but, we'll have to wait and see.
But really the only reason they would do this is because they know the original trilogy is what's making them money. Prequels, I consider good. You're more than welcome to not like them. But you have to admit that the prequels, in comparison to the sequels, are significantly better. Plus, the original trilogy is classics and can never be replaced, which is exactly why they would try to replace them.
Yeah, and again, it won't be the same without the voice actors. Now, they might be able to get Mark Hamill if they do, but Harrison Ford's probably not going to come back for any of it, and Carrie Fisher is not around, so they can't even get the original voice actors for that. And again, that's not necessarily an issue.
And with Yoda, they're not even working with Frank Oz anymore. Didn't he voice Yoda?
Yeah, but again, that's a side point, but the idea here is that, look, this isn't necessary. The only reason they would do this is to make it so that they could kind of to change things, maybe make Luke look a little worse because they don't like Luke. They've made that very clear. You don't like Luke, but you also alienated half of your fan base by treating him the way that you did. Mm-hmm. So, and you didn't even do it accurately. Again, case in point, if he turned to a Force ghost, his mechanical hand would have not fallen down with him. It would have clunked to the floor.
Yeah.
So you can't even do that right.
It's because they're terrible writers. But speaking of Luke, he is also in our waiting room.
So here we have a newly announced Star Wars book titled Star Wars Shadow of the Sith will seemingly showcase Luke Skywalker as a failure as he chases Ochi of Bestoon across the galaxy. Now, most people don't understand what the heck this means, but this is going to be old Luke with Lando chasing after a bounty hunter named Ochi of Bestoon. There's an interesting reason why this is so important.
Apparently he's going to be the reason Rey is an orphan.
No, apparently he's going to be like Luke is going to like chase after him and fail to stop him from killing Rey's parents or whatever. And so basically what it's going to say is that because of Luke's failure, we get Rey.
Ugh.
And again, this could be not exactly the plot of what we're getting with. This is just going on what we've been hearing and what people have said online. Mm-hmm. But, like, come on. You know by now that people like Luke.
And hate Rey.
No, some people like Rey, and they're more than welcome to like her.
Oh, yeah.
I happen to be one of those people who doesn't.
Yeah, me too.
And you know what? If you like Rey, all power to you. But we can all agree that everybody likes Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
If you don't like Luke, then why are you watching Star Wars? That's my opinion. But again, you're welcome to yours.
I mean, he is the main protagonist.
But like, for example, in the end of Mandalorian Season 2, spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched that, when they made, a CGI Mark Hamill come back, whatever, it blew up. Mm-hmm. Because people like Luke. They don't hate him.
People were crying seeing Jedi Master Luke Skywalker back in action in his prime.
Yeah, and then of course the same stupid writers making things now, Pablo Hidalgo, Mr. Chicken Man Suit himself, decided to say emotions aren't for sharing and then he had to apologize for it because he got into big trouble. And again, look, people like Luke. It's just a fact. The sooner you guys accept that, Lucasfilth, the sooner you accept that, the better. I know you won't want to, but the sooner you accept that people like Luke and stop trying to tear him down, the more you tear him down to prop up your own characters,
the more people hate you.
And the more people hate the same characters you're trying to prop up because you're destroying the original ones that are classic, that people love. Mm-hmm. It should be a passing of the torch, not a destroying of the torch and making a new one. That's literally what this is. It's not a passing of anything if you destroy what made the original character important.
What he said. And with that, we call in our next client, Armor Wars.
Okay, so this is something big for me. Let me read what it says here first. One of the announced Marvel Studios Disney Plus series that fans know the least about is Armor Wars. The famous comic book by the same name features Tony Stark's Iron Man and James Rhodes' War Machine, seeking out the people who the superhero hadn't realized had been using his technology for their destructive suits.
Now, the problem with them making Armor Wars is that they've killed Tony Stark.
Yes, that's a big issue, but I want to actually issue a correction here.
Oh?
Having read the Armor Wars and Armor Wars 2, I can tell you for a fact that in Armor Wars 1, there was no War Machine.
What about in Armor Wars 2?
In Armor Wars 2, I think there was, from what I recall. But I believe in Armor Wars 1, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe in Armor Wars 1, Tony actually took back War Machine, or, disabled it, because it had his technology in it.
That would make sense.
So, again, the thing that bothers me the most is, first off, that's not true. And do I think that they could make some decent, spin-off Armor Wars? Yes, but if you're going to call it Armor Wars and then not have Iron Man, who's been present for all of the Armor Wars, literally all of them.
Because it's literally his suits that are the cause of these said wars.
And then you're going to have War Machine and Ironheart be like the people who are in charge of this series.
Riri Williams.
Yeah, I don't get it. Look, do I think that they could possibly make something decent out of this?
Yes.
Maybe. But at the same time, why would you make Armor Wars without Tony Stark?
Without Iron Man.
He's like the main feature of it. At this point, you're going to have War Machine and Ironheart go on a crusade to destroy all the remaining technology that Tony is out there.
Basically destroying his legacy.
Well, that, and also, what is the point?
There is none. Basically, unless they're trying to tear down a man's legacy.
For me, the MCU ended with Endgame.
Yeah, pretty much.
No Tony Stark, no me. So simply put, no Tony Stark, no Armor Wars for me. You can call it Armor Wars all you want, but let's be 100% honest. It's not an Armor War without Iron Man.
Without the man who made the armor.
You want to make it Armor Wars and then make a different name after it and call it that? Fine. But don't call this the Armor Wars. And again, there's not a lot of information out on this yet. But if they're going to build off of this, and again, since Tony hasn't miraculously returned from the dead...
Or come from an alternate universe.
Yet. I have no interest.
Me neither. It needs to have Iron Man or it's not Armor Wars. That's the basic of it.
Well, and again, I'm a big fan of Iron Man. I don't mind War Machine. I do not have any interest in Ironheart. And again, I'm just not interested in an Armor Wars without Iron Man. That's just my thing.
I'm with you there.
You know, if there's no Iron Man, there's no Armor War. And again, maybe they'll have an alternate world version of him. But, again... It's not my thing. I'm sorry. I'm not going to get down with a whole new generation of superheroes unless they got someone really good playing him. Mm-hmm. Which we don't even know if this is going to be a thing. So it's it's got to this point where they finally are now taking... old, good material. The Armor Wars original comic, you guys should read it. The first Armor Wars is incredibly good. The second one's okay. But then there's been how many more since then? I just don't want to see this taken and changed to something else. But for me, as I said, the main thing that I have fault with in this is no Iron Man, no Armor Wars.
Pretty much. And so we move on to the next client.
Oh, right.
The female Ghost Rider.
Okay.
Can I laugh?
Don't make our neighbor angry.
Oh, this is hilarious, though.
Okay, so it says Marvel Comics announced a new female Ghost Rider series. Ghost Rider Kushala?
I think it's pronounced Kushala.
Kushala for their webtoon alternative Marvel Unlimited. And as you can see, the original Ghost Rider's like, huh?
And of course, also, as you can see, she is very strongly Native American, which is good. I don't mind that part. But apparently she is also the 1800s Sorcerer Supreme.
And apparently she uses her magic and has full control over her spirit of vengeance. But it's not a normal spirit of vengeance because it it allows her to have the ability to become a spirit rider, so she can go through other people's minds and time and space. And
yeah, that's overpowered.
And again, they say that the only weakness she has is she could be too powerful.
That's not a weakness.
She'll be too powerful and lose control. Here's what I think. Hear me out. Mm-hmm. Here's how one small tweak that could fix this character for you. Again, I'll give you guys props. This character design's not bad.
No, it is not.
And it's an original new character, which is better than taking the original. But this one also apparently saves Johnny Blaze's soul, the original Ghost Rider, which we'll get into in a minute. But here's a small tweak that could have saved this character, because no one wants to see an overpowered character. You guys don't seem to get that.
Do tell what this tweak would be.
This tweak would basically be that instead of her having full control over her spirit of vengeance, she does when she has control of her magic. But she doesn't always have control of her magic.
Therefore, she doesn't always have control of the spirit.
So it would mean that she would have to use her magic, but be worried about the fact of losing control, because if she lost control, it would also mean losing control of her spirit of vengeance.
I would think you could also do it that she can only have control of one or the other. That if she has control of her magic, she has no control over the spirit, but if she has a control over the spirit, she has no control over her magic.
But that's not what Marvel does these days.
No, they just make their female characters way too overpowered, thinking that is what will make them likable. No.
They've done this a lot with Captain Marvel specifically. They keep giving her more powers and more stuff, and it's like people don't like her.
Yeah, look how that turned out. How many times have they canceled her again?
I don't know. Too many to count.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
This character's decent. Design is decent. I like the idea of this character, but I think, nobody wants an overpowered character. Why are we even having a comic about her? Who's she's gonna fight? And then she goes and saves Johnny Blaze's soul, and Johnny Blaze goes, "Be gentle."
That's horrible. I did not know whether to laugh or scream when I heard that.
That was just so terrible.
Serious cringe.
You're welcome to like this character. I think this just goes to show you that, current day Marvel is just not filled with people who have original ideas anymore.
Basically, it's doomed.
Yeah, and look, again, props on making an original character. I'll give you that.
And a good character design.
But, this is not interesting to me. No. When I hear of a character that literally has, no flaws, oh, she might get too powerful and lose control.
I've already done that with Jean Grey.
But, what's the fun of that?
There is none.
I want to see a character with flaws so we can watch them grow and deal with their flaws. Not a character who's the bestest ever already and can do everything, because that's not interesting to me.
Nope. Character development is what makes a good character.
And they don't know how to do that anymore. And again, what I'll say to people at Marvel, here's a thought. If you can't make original characters that are decent, hire people who can.
I agree. I'd say hire me, but I don't want to work for you.
I don't think this is going to work out the way you think it will. And I prefer Johnny Blaze. I'm glad you're not touching him too much, but come on, be gentle.
Yeah, that's not Johnny.
That's not Johnny, yeah.
Not at all.
It's just like, come on. We don't need this.
No. Shall we move on? Mm-hmm. Now we talk about something my husband dreads. The Doctor Who flux. Oh boy. Go ahead and rant.
Okay, I'd rather have acid reflux, as you can see. The new teaser features Whittaker's 13th Doctor, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen.
Thank you, Nerdrotics.
Warning of an incoming threat from the mysterious flux, which will spawn any number of foes to combat against. Oh no.
Well, that's vague.
Oh no, a lot of foes in one place? We haven't seen that before.
Cough, cough, Pandorica.
Also, you do know there's a card game called Doctor Who Flux, which involves all these different characters that you're describing. They're talking about it, and they're literally, again, the funny part I find the most funny part about this, aside from the fact that this is not going to work for them out for them very well, the funniest part, I think, is the fact that this series is going to be called Doctor Who Flux. It's not even going to be called Doctor Who, and it's 8 episodes.
It's literally just a mini spin-off series.
It's a spin-off series of the actual show that's supposed to be doing so well.
Go ahead and laugh.
No, I look, Doctor Who is my favorite show. Mm-hmm. Part of me will always, deep down, love it. But it's been so damaged to me that I can't even bring myself to laugh at this, because it's just, I have the one thing that you don't want any fan to have, and that's apathy. I just don't care. It's gotten to the point where I miss what originally came. Maybe Russell T Davies will help, but again, I have skepticism over that. Mm-hmm. And look, like, at this point, like, I just don't care. They've shown they don't care. And then you say, oh, we don't want politics, and then people tell you, Doctor Who's always been political.
No, it hasn't.
No, it has to a certain degree, but it's been done well.
Oh, yeah.
This is just boring. And again, it has nothing to do with not liking the 13th Doctor. I don't like her, but I think the reasoning behind not liking her is because the writing is so terrible.
Oh, yes. And that's an understatement and an insult to terrible writing.
And again, look, I don't think the Doctor's a female. I think that the Doctor's a male.
I agree. The Doctor has always been a man and will always be a man, and if you don't like that, too bad.
Yeah, and again, you can like the 13th Doctor and like that it's female. I think it could have been done better, but again, I think this experiment failed. Mm-hmm. And it's not because, oh no, it's by a woman. I don't care.
It's because the writing sucks.
It's because the writing sucks, and the Timeless Children completely destroyed the past history, and it shows. And you'll go on Twitter and you'll see people, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Be excited. But I guarantee the people who are most of the people who are saying that won't watch.
The other hilarious part is that this Flux series is going to premiere on Halloween. No one's going to be watching on Halloween except for horror movies or trick-or-treating stuff.
If we want to see a horrifyingly bad TV show, there's other ways to do it. But other than that, people watch, as my wife said, people will watch horror movies. They'll be going trick-or-treating. They don't want to watch horribly bad TV.
Yes, there are other days for that.
I'd rather be scared, not disgusted.
Fair enough. And with that, we move on to the last client, Edgar Allan Poe.
So, it says, the limited series from Intrepid Pictures is based on multiple works of Poe. And this is being handled by Netflix. I'll let my wife take over from here.
So basically, it's been announced that Netflix is going to be working on a TV series based on the works of Edgar Allan Poe, which they will most likely call The Fall of the House of Usher. Now, I love Edgar Allan Poe. He was one of my very first inspirations when I started writing, and I even modeled my writing style after his. And if you've looked at some of my works on Wattpad, you'll see how much Poe has inspired me, because I literally have references to him in one of my stories. But I have very mixed feelings about this announcement, because I love Poe, but I don't trust Netflix. I am very terrified that they are going to ruin my favorite author.
Now, there's not a lot of information about this out there at the moment, so we don't know exactly what they're planning on doing. Perhaps when we find out, we'll be pleasantly surprised.
I would hope so.
But given the fact that Netflix has not a great track record, my wife has every reason to be worried about this.
Yes, exactly.
Hopefully it's done well. We don't know enough yet to make that decision, but again, having some, skepticism and some, anxiety around it isn't far-founded,
No, especially today.
Especially since, Poe is a very big inspiration to my wife and her work. Obviously we made sure to cover this because we think it's important. Again, there's not a lot to cover at this point. When there is more, we will give an update on it.
I would appreciate that. And so, with that, we begin the diagnosis of the week.
Yeah, and so this week we actually have a diagnosis that we have not used before.
And tell us what it is.
And the diagnosis for this week is Hysteronic personality disorder.
Please explain.
It's basically a pervasive pattern of excessive emotionality and attention seeking. It's basically where they're uncomfortable in situations where they're not center of attention. They, display rapidly shifting shallow expressions of emotions. They consider relationships to be more intimate than they actually are. For example, oh, Doctor Who fans, we're so close with you. You're gonna love this, Flux. Oh, you guys like this? Armor Wars Disney fans. Oh, you like Ghost Rider, whatever. It's a thing that they do now. Now, again, this is usually characterized by inappropriate sexually or seductive provocative behavior. However, it's obviously not the case here. Because that's bad. Can't have that anymore. But I do think otherwise it does fit this pretty well because this is what they're doing. They're trying to kind of say, oh, we connect with you. We connect with you. Oh, 2016's okay. We connect with you. Oh, Transformers, we connect with you. We connect with you. We connect with you. And really, they don't realize how disconnected they are. Mm-hmm. And because of that, they literally, and again, it says use a physical appearance to draw attention. That's what they do here. Oh, look, you like this character, right? Poof, here you go. We have this character. Ooh, fancy. And it's really not at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So again, while this doesn't fit 100%, I think it fits pretty well for what we're dealing with these days, minus the, sexually seductive or provocative part.
I agree.
As you know, we don't just leave you with a diagnosis anymore. We actually have the remedy of the week. And given that we just discussed Poe,
we, this week, will be sending you to Amber Andromeda. She does a series on her YouTube channel called Cyber Dreaming, where she reads poetry and fiction and has a little ambient music in the background, some of which I think she makes herself. And over the next month, she is doing a series called Cyber Spookin', in which she reads Gothic fiction. And the first one she did for that series was Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, so if you want to, if you're a Poe fan, or you're just a fan of, great, nice stories and interesting stories in general, especially during the spooky season, why don't you just jump on your witch's broom and head on over there and tell her that Gothic Therapy referred you.
Indeed.
But that's all we have for this week. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and also make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe with notifications on so you do not miss your weekly therapy session.
Because you don't want to be charged. Also, follow us both on Twitter at Master of the TDS and at Writing Raven 2. Follow me on Wattpad at Gothic Writer 613 for some good stories that have no wokeness whatsoever. We also have an Instagram account for our channel called yt.gothic.therapy, and my husband also has an Instagram at Master the TDS in case he gets kicked off Twitter at some point.
I don't use it that often.
Yes. We also have a Discord, which will be linked in the description below.
Yeah, and I've also taken to streaming on Twitch lately. I'm trying to make it to affiliate, again at Master of TDS. If you guys want to, follow me there. I'm playing some games like Hollow Knight and West of Loathing right now. So, if you're curious, you want to have, some extra therapy, you know where to find me.
Yes. But that is all, and we will see you next week.
Gothic Therapy, out.
Catch us on the web.